The human body. It's pretty hard, especially when you're transitioning from 2D to 3D, or you haven't actually sat down and sculpted the human body. I think let's take a look at this, and I think first we need to think about the underlying structure first, and I'm glad you're doing it with the skull and all that here. But let's just make a new canvas so I can see everything proportionally. I'm gonna clean this up just a little bit. This is kind of general arc of the brow ridge. Spin here and kind of simplify this to one form. I think especially at the early stage, it is kind of important to try and smooth out some of the stuff so it's a little easier to see what's going on. And we can widen the head, back here. Top plane, or the try and create some sort of limit to top of the forehead, and then get this cheekbone to dive back in a more planar sense. Playing with the bridge of the nose, and then possibly pushing this out further, pushing this back in. So then that will help. Well, first of all, we need to figure out what the actual extremity of the eye socket is, like say there. And then once I have that in, now we get this bridge of the nose, side bridge of the nose. So when you're sculpting with the face, or sculpting the face with the flesh on, that getting that clearance, that profile clearance of the bridge of the nose is pretty important. And then what I want to do here, maybe possibly box out this a little bit more. What's happening? I think okay, the nasal cavity is too wide. There you go. Here. And I think maybe this is not round enough. It's typically like a harsh or a pretty extreme transition point here. And then need to figure out, right, so as you're saying, ear hole is going around there. That means the zygomatic is what? Something like this. And that's going to go to necessary process. Creating this chin-like structure a little bit more. And maybe we're missing the jaw because from the 3/4 view. Yeah, that's completely gone. And you probably take this in here for the temple just slightly more. Maybe this, I'll planarize this corner, and then that'll help me. I can create like a transition plane for that corner of the forehead at the top. And then it's going to be a balance of making sure that this doesn't box out quite so severely. And what's going on here? Oh, okay. So this, and then Dynamesh that. So yeah, I like to think of this as like a transition. What is it? You need to do like side and then front. Can't quite remember out without looking at a skull right now. So kind of like two transition planes on here, and this will be a little bit more straight from profile. Maybe this is going back too deep, which is throwing your jaw out of alignment here. And let's call that our skull blocking. Obviously we could go further, but we have a lot of stuff to look at right now. Okay, so rib cage. Okay, this turn off solo mode, and then so we placement wise, right? I think this is bring up Bombus, classic Bombus. If you're going to simplify the rib cage, we need to think of it in several planes too, and it's going to be like this shaved egg look. The top rib cage part for set of ribs is going to be angled. C7 is going to be higher than pivoted neck, so you'll get a front plane, and then which you kind of have. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, don't insert guns here. Right. So let's simplify this. We don't really need the sternum like that. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the clip curve. Let's clip this off. Let's clip some of this off, and then I can kind of do a transition, trim dynamic here, and kind of go and do it here. And now I really need to define where exactly is my pigeon neck. So I think there's right now we have some like postural body issues here, and let's take a look here. There's got to be a Bombus rib cage. Okay, this is a bad search. Not getting what I want here, and then so maybe if we look at this one here, you know, pretty rounds. Just what I can round out that outside corner a bit, and then we can play with this. I don't know if we really need to put the spinal cord in to that detail, but yeah, so I can reinforce that one more time. And then this could, I guess, technically be something there. And I think we need to slide C7 back a little bit more. So this is this aperture of the rib cage makes a little bit more sense. And there we go. Yeah, so placement wise, if the vertebrae, this is pretty far leaning, the head is leaning pretty far forward. Let me take a look at what your body is doing. So I'm going to slide this head back here. This is just a little bit maybe more experience, in my case, working this out. And then take a look at this pelvis. So I think the general. Okay, yeah. So you're missing. I think what makes your pelvis difficult to work with is the fact that you haven't really figured out where your aces is. So you're gonna have their inside third of the pelvis. Like if we just break this down to like 1, 2, 3, then this will be the aces. The bowl of the pelvis is actually going to come out this way. And then we're going to get this. Kind of shape here. Maybe, so I'm probably taking this way too far out. It's looking, in comparison to everything else, it's going kind of crazy here. The bowl of the pelvis. And then I feel like I have all this these proportion and BOM always in the illustration class folder. Right, let me pull that up. Okay, let me download this. Or we can, yeah, it's gonna take too long. So let's just zoom in on this. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at this construction a bit. I know it's kind of dry and boring stuff, but it's important to know. And just want to double check what I'm doing before I spread misinformation here. So yeah, you'll get this as part of the sacrum area here, and then of course that's going to tuck under, just like what you have, and broaden it just slightly. But then the pelvis actually comes up. Yeah, so we need to adjust this. So this has to come up. We kind of just flatten this area out. This has to be kind of a straight line. So we're breaking things down into more or less thirds as it goes along the iliac crest. Let's just trim it. Here, yep. So we have basically kind of this should kind of come forward. Oops. Come forward a little bit. I think if we think the proper distribution is widest point here, highest point here, and then lowest point. Or not lowest point, but it will kick back down there. Yeah, getting these forms in ZBrush, it takes a little bit of time here, but maybe it will last. I'll just do one spot check from the top, and then we'll kind of move on from that here. Okay, I think this could all kind of essentially line up in one area, and then we'll use this to figure out where everything else is. I might have to adjust this so we know where ACES is more reliably, but do some minor tweaks to the pelvis. Let's take a look at the body now. So I think at this point, it's kind of like what I was saying in class. I'm going to take this dynamic resolution down. Let's go back to 128. We don't need this to be dense at all. This will just make working faster. Before we move forward, I'm just going to smooth out everything. Kind of start a little bit more simply. That means first order business is moving the head back, which will change the posture of everything. So when you have the head forward, I think you're trying to compensate for that forward tilt in the posture by sliding that the top of the chest forward, right? And then we need to kind of readjust everything here. It's going to readjust all this. Let's turn on transparency and see what's going on. Yep, so our head's too big. I'm going to get rid of the ears for now. And then I'm going to use where I'm kind of defining parts of the anatomy, like the first set of ribs, and I'm going to think about the neck just by itself and not think about trapezius. And then I think all of this is going too high. Let's turn on transparency because that's kind of making me distracted here. I'm going to select these here, and then I'm going to make this a polygroup, and then we'll hide. Okay, let's oh, this already is a polygroup. That's helpful. There we go. And this work on. We'll just work on this area here. So really, if I want to use that rib cage shape to my advantage, we're going to conform everything kind of around there. So I'm just taking a fairly big brush, defining where the pit of the neck is, figuring out where the clavicles are. I'm not going to worry about the pectoralis right now. I feel like this could go forward. Maybe I need to take my rib cage. Okay, so I'm still just thinking of the concept of the three major masses. I think we're looking kind of short in general. Maybe what I can do is let's turn on transpose mesh. Turn on my transpose line. Roughly, what happens with the body is that you could essentially double the distance from the top of the head to the groin, and that will give, or top of the head to groin is roughly halfway. So I can just, that means I think I need to move the legs down, or his entire lower body. Yeah, because based off of the general proportions I was getting from my version of your rib cage, then we need to go back and make this slightly taller. Of course, that's going to change a lot of the other placement of things, but that's okay. Maybe let's take a look. What's going on here? Right, so if I'm saying this is where kind of the limits of my rib cage are, bottom of the sternum, and I can kind of figure out, okay, so this is going to be my rectus abdominis. I think I needed lower pelvis just based off of all this. Let's reset that. And then now with ACES kind of in place, I can figure out where everything else is going. The general arc of everything meant that I need to push all of this kind of forward. I think it's starting to look sort of feminine, but we'll adjust as we go along. I'm going to turn off the pelvis for now. And I'm going to rely a little bit more on just observation, and I'm going to adjust the legs. And then kind of handle some of this. I need to really define where a lot of these landmarks are here. So this is telling me I can probably need to bring the neck down, and then I need to bring the clavicles up, which will help me figure out some other stuff here. Really though, one of the first things you need to figure out also is where exactly are the scapula. If you're going to go do the process of doing these proportion checks, like the pelvis and the ribcage, then you might want to do like a scapula as its own object. Because we need to figure out where the spine of the scapula is, how that meets with the clavicles, and then that'll give us the acromion, and then that will give us a better idea of where the deltoid is coming from. And then I'm going to turn off the page too, just because that's distracting me. If we're going to start putting in pectoralis too, then again, I'm working in pretty big brush strokes here. And then we always need to define that sternum area. And then certain parts of where they insert to the body, or the different heads, and where they tuck under, say deltoid, figuring out where the biceps are, and then yeah, then the lats will kind of. Before that, let's put in kind of a line for the spinal cord. I'm gonna go up, create the rectus spinae, and then we'll put like the lats and insert that into the arm here. This is looking really weird. What's going on? Wait, did I really do that? Why is it looking? maybe probably help if I put trapezius in. Okay, this is inserting too low. This is going too wide. Take this here. I'm going to raise this just to make my life a bit easier, so I can kind of figure out things a little bit more easily. Maybe what I need to do instead of trying to build it up is just use the dam standard. I need to redefine the armpit. Okay, body type wise, this might not be what you're going after, but maybe this is just like easier for me to figure it out, and then we can kind of we can rein it in later. This arc is kind of insane, so let's hide that. I think I put too much gesture. I'm going to relax the arms. Okay, something like that. Trying to put the stuff in, and then I think your legs are getting a little too straight up and down, so maybe we can add just a little bit more here. I'm just going to draw this for Sartorius. Wait, I'm going to get that plane change in the leg. It's going to wrap this, figure out where the kneecap is. From here, we can just start carving out more anatomy. I'm going overboard on some of this. arch in there. Taller up here, and it'll descend over here. This is actually going to be a little bit more of a plane change too, so maybe I'll carry it over from this side, wrap that down here. I can build this foam back up, and then that will help me wrap the calf around. The hole there, we can bisect this, go up. Kind of going to try and follow some of the anatomy we did earlier. I'm going to decide where the pelvis is, like there, because I need to figure out where okay, if I'm saying maybe the trochanter is there, and then we have medius, maximus, tensor point here, and then iliotibial tract going down. Here, I should really be looking at reference for this, but we'll see how well I know my stuff, I guess. Lateralis, medialis. That shape looks completely wrong, but I think my obliques are not filling in enough. And then I really need to, again, say this is where sartorius is. Yeah, this upper leg part is looking completely busted. Maybe the easiest thing for me to do I think this head is too tall. Tune up the skull. Okay. Part of it is just we're not getting the general shape of the head is kind of still wrong. That means this needs to cut over. Cut over, like this. Okay, yeah, let's pull this in. That's looking kind of a little too insane. Okay, I elongated the body too much, so I need to pull back and reevaluate all the proportions here. There's too much width I'm creating with the rib cage, because that needs to be created not by the rib cage. Yeah, let's just kind of flatten, simplify this. That needs to be created by the lats, which will sit there. Something a little bit like that. Maybe this is still too far out. Okay, this is looking a little bit more natural. His legs are looking too crazy. I think I went overboard on a lot of this here. Oh, okay. Yeah, we need more downward turns. Maybe this should come in more. Yeah, I'm going to start neutralizing a lot of those exaggerations that I put in earlier. I think this will help. I'm going to actually draw out the kind of general form of the iliac crest here, just so I understand what I'm putting down a little bit better. And then that's going to let me reinsert this more accurately. That's going to wrap around there. Okay, I think I need to move gluteus medius a little bit over. Say like here. if the trochanter is there, then this can also, I think this part of the gluteus maximus will dive in a little bit more sort of differently. And then I can kind of fill this back in somewhat more naturally. This will kind of come down. Yeah. After you bisect something like that, you kind of wrap it around. So we're not getting too simplistic and too cylindrical with everything, because I can always smooth it out. You know, it'll be a little bit more accurate just because I have those form changes from all that wrapping. Here, technically bisect that. Bisect that again. Get some of this going. Reevaluate what's going on here. So I need to move this forward. Right, so let's again, let's call it this the aces for sure. This will be Sartorius. Oh, sorry. I need to be better about centering what I'm doing so you're not looking at the edge of the canvas all the time. Alright, so this, reevaluate this, just from where I'm already saying this is their patella down here, so that will kind of come down to there. And vastus medialis will come over the side of that. And then vastus lateralis will come over there. And I'll push this here. Let's kind of exaggerate some of those classic quadriceps shapes here. Kind of smooth out a lot of this here, so it's not too jarring to look at. This get this around, get it here. So this doesn't look probably carry this a little lower, a little higher. It's over there. Have this descend down. So it's kind of be next to that. And then, yeah, I screwed up the balance. This should come forward. And I don't know if will try not to make this too long. Ooh, yeah, I took this way too far out. Well, I know this is kind of terrible. This doesn't look very good still, but at least I hope it kind of gave you something, some sort of like the logic that I'm usually thinking of when I'm doing this. But I should also have better reference in front of me and not try to wing this entire thing out of my head. But other than that, I'm going to, I think, put some of the other like anatomical reference stuff that I compile for the other class for you, and I'll put it up on the drive as well.